What's going on, people? Welcome back to another one. Today we are talking the Terence Crawford versus Israel Madrimov card, and we're going to be focusing on the heavyweights in today's video. We're talking Ruiz versus Miller. We're talking Bakole versus Anderson. Let's get into today's video. This is a very good card coming up in LA, part of the Riyadh season. Crawford versus Madrimov is our main event. Now, that's going to be coming in another video. I'll talk more about that and some of the other kind of lower weight fights in that video. But today, we want to focus on the big boys. We're focusing on Ruiz versus Miller. That's going to be the first thing. Now, this is going to be a very interesting fight. Ruiz obviously he's been missing. He's been very inactive on this one. So a lot of people are calling this a 50-50. Now, Miller's activity has been kind of all over the place in the last few years through his own reasons. And, you know, I think you can still consider it a 50-50 because of those reasons. Now, if it was before and, you know, even let's say when Miller was, before he got found out on those tests, I still would have backed Ruiz on this one. And in shape Ruiz, I think, has more skill than a Miller. Miller doesn't really have that much power. Obviously, he had a lot of output, but he had extra help with that output. Whereas Ruiz had a lot of natural boxing skill, and he still actually had a pretty decent gas tank. Obviously not in the AJ2 fight because he wasn't fit and he didn't train himself. But if you watch him in a Parker fight, still got good amount of speed. He's not the fastest on his feet. Now, it's going to be a very interesting fight because of the styles of both fighters. Ruiz is a front foot counter puncher. So he doesn't lay on the back foot. He doesn't really go backwards too much, but he does wait for you to throw, and he knows he's got the hand speed to counter you when you throw. So he tries to put the pressure on. He tries to make you want to throw. Keep moving forward, nice high guard, waiting for those shots. Bam, nice fast combination. His left hook is his specialty. So that's going to be an interesting one to watch out for in this one. Jerome Miller, his strength also is not a counter puncher, but he also is a pressure fighter. Now, he uses his punches and his combinations as his pressure, constantly moving forward like an immovable object and just throwing a ton of punches. Now, obviously, he came in to the Daniel Dubois fight, his last fight, quite a fair bit heavier. He was out of shape. He said it was a bit last minute, but, you know, no real excuses for that one. But he still managed to stick in there until that last round. Obviously, got stopped in the last round, last 10 seconds. But also what you will notice is that he was getting hit with big flush shots by Dubois and was standing up to it. So he has a good chin. So that's going to be interesting to see if Ruiz can crack that chin. He also has quite a decent high guard, a nice tight high guard, so he can take a few punches on the gloves and keep barreling forward. So I really don't know which way to go with this one. Personally, I think Ruiz will win, and personally, I want Ruiz to win. Now, I've made no secret out some of these other videos. I think Miller should not be in boxing. It's a bit mad that he's able to get these opportunities, but I do understand it. He sells. He's like bloody Deadpool, a merc with a mouth. Like, he knows how to sell tickets. He knows how to sell a fight. So I get why the promotion is there, but just with everything he's done in the past, he's been caught cheating so many times. It's a bit mad that he still beat his opportunity. So I hope Ruiz gets him the heck out of here. Ruiz is no angel himself. I mean, he's nowhere near Miller's thing, but, you know, kind of the laziness, not taking training seriously, that's a bit of an interesting one right there. But I think if he's actually getting on the right path for Ruiz, I think now this is a path and this is a time for him to take over and bring himself back into the fold. So I back Ruiz to win. The way it gets difficult for Ruiz. Now, Ruiz didn't look great in his last two outings, and obviously he's had the inactivity, which is a big thing. He didn't look great against Arreola. I think he was dropped. Yes, he was dropped early in that fight, and he did not look great against Luis Ortiz. And both of them went to decisions. So that's a bit of a worrying sign from Ruiz. But if he is focused, I believe that he has the skills to do it. Next up, Bakole versus Anderson. And this one is a real tough one to call. I'm not really gonna call it. I'm gonna be a bit of a fence sitter on this one. Now, I would like to say that it's an easy one to call. You know, Anderson's a young prospect and but I've never really truly been that impressed with Jared Anderson. I never really understood the hype. He is kind of tall, but for me, I don't know what it is. Maybe I need to see an other heavyweight. So I don't know. I just think of him as not that big of a heavyweight. And watching him fight as well, like, he has power, definitely has power. He's popped to his punches, but he doesn't seem to have that I don't know, that concussive knockout power. Like when he fought Charles Martin, obviously Charles Martin presented him with a lot of issues on only 7 days notice, and it wasn't a great performance. And a lot of people look at that one, but if you look at the performance before, it's also very similar. Very, very negative opponent before Charles Martin, so it's kind of understandable why Anderson couldn't get him out of there. But the level of opposition, just, I don't know, like, I don't know if he's ready for Bakole. He was getting caught quite a lot against Charles Martin. You know, maybe it's because of the southpaw thing, he's just not used to it. But again, it was a bit of a worrying sign. Now with Martin Bakole, he is definitely the king of sparring, apparently. He's the world championship sparring champion. Bakole's had not a lot of opportunities to fight people, but when he has, the biggest step up he had recently was Takam. And I watched the highlights of that fight very recently. And yeah, Bakole he's a problem. Like, he's a big, powerful heavyweight, but he's deceptively quick with his hand speed as well. Like, he throws some decent, sharp shots. Not necessarily loads of big combinations, but the actual speed of the single shots that come at you, he comes at them very, very fast. He knows how to go to the body, rip that body. He will definitely be testing Anderson's gas tank in there. And even though with the Takam fight, he came in quite a bit overweight, I think it was nearly 300 pounds, he was 300 pounds. He was actually, gas tank didn't look too bad. He doesn't have the fastest of feet, especially at that weight, but like I said, he has deceptively fast punches and deceptively fast hands. So I think it will definitely present big problems for Anderson. I would like Anderson to win. I do think Bakole is a good boxer, but there's something about him. I don't really like the talking about sparring stories. Like, I don't like that being their sales point, if I'm honest. I think it's a little bit tacky, you know, like, I stopped this guy sparring, I stopped that guy sparring, I stopped everyone inspiring. It's like, well, this is why no one wants to fight you. And I don't believe it's because people are scared of him, but I believe it's because they don't respect him. Like, sparring, it used to be able to stay private. And yes, if you're fighting that person and you want to bring it up, then I'm all for that. But to try and use it to sell yourself, I'm just like, come on, man. Like, you use it based on your own personality, your own skills, not what happened in sparring, because that doesn't necessarily mean everything. We've seen what happened with Dubois and Hrgovic. It doesn't mean everything. That's where the learning should happen. So good, you stopped them in sparring, good. So then they learned from that, they went into the fight, and I assume that they did better in the fight because of what they learned in sparring. That's what it's for. So I just don't really like that. So I will be backing Anderson to win, but I don't know if he will. It definitely is a 50-50, and it's a good kind of like, not necessarily an exposer, but it lets us know who is ready to go to that next tier of heavyweight. So once again, Turkey is doing his thing with the heavyweight division. Now, for both of those fights, I would like to see the winners possibly fight each other. Definitely Miller versus Anderson is a good fight if they both win their fights. Even if they both lose their fights, I think that's a good fight, because both of them are called Big Baby, and there's a bit of beef there, as you saw in the press conference yesterday or today. So it'll be good for them to settle that beef in the ring. So I think that'll be a good fight for winner or loser to fight each other on the next one. Maybe not Ruiz and Bakole. I just don't really know about that matchup. It doesn't really have much, I don't know, like, storyline to it. And I say storyline because you've got to think of how to sell the fights as well. But Miller versus Anderson, win or lose, I think is a great fight for both of them next. If Bakole wins, I think it's time for him to start maybe getting a title shot, or maybe looking at an eliminator for that title shot, because he is ranked very highly in the governing bodies. Heavyweight madness. Heavyweights are getting shaken up again, thanks to His Excellency Turkey Al Sheikh. Thank you for watching, people. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe. What is going on with the heavyweights? How will it shake it up? Will it change the top 10, top 4, top 5? Let me know what you think. Peace.